right now in Washington, as thousands are expected to gather in the nation's capital tomorrow for the 60th anniversary of the 1963 March on Washington. A coalition of 60 national organizations across racial, cultural, and generational and religious lines will participate as they join forces at the Lincoln Memorial, and they're going to evaluate the progress that they have made, that we have made, that America has made to achieve Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream and to highlight the work still needed to bring about peace, justice, and equity. Let's bring in right now the president of the National Action Network and host of MSNBC's Politics Nation, Reverend Al Sharpton, the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt, and Andrea Waters King. She, along with her husband, Martin Luther King III, are the co-leaders of the Drum Major Institute, a nonprofit community action group founded by Dr. King. Rev, just an extraordinary lineup. Tell us about it.
Well, when Andrea and Martin and I talked about doing the commemoration, we said it really was a continuation, because we have seen in the last several months hate crimes go up against blacks, against Jews, against Asians, against Latinos, against LGBTQ. We've seen affirmative action pretty much suspended. Women's right to choose pretty much suspended. So rather than have a commemoration, this is to continue and to face the challenges today that Dr. King and others faced 60 years ago. They did not do it alone. So we reached out to Jonathan Greenblatt, who said, oh, no, I'll co-chair it, and UNIDOS to bring in the Latino community and LGBTQ. And Andrea Waters King, who's been the brain trust of this, said, wait a minute, women didn't speak 60 years ago. Not only are we speaking, I'm co-leading this. She convenes us when we're too tired to be convened. So we're showing the next steps that needs to be confronted. It cannot be confronted unless we're all together and we are showing across racial and gender and sexual lines who we are. We're going to show on that mall tomorrow what America stands for. And when you see us march from the Lincoln Memorial to the King Memorial, I want you, Joe, to contrast what we do tomorrow with what happened January 6th. We're going to show Americans how you can be outraged about an issue but still keep your dignity and discipline.
Yeah, and Jonathan, talk about the importance of you being there, the Anti-Defamation League, the incredible alliance that you and Reverend Al have brought together. We hear you all time and time again speaking out over the past several years against anti-Semitism. And also, of course, you know the history, even 60 years ago, that it was a lot of Jewish Americans who were standing shoulder to shoulder with their black brothers and sisters, not only during this march, but during the civil rights movement.
You're 100% right, Joe. I think the black and Jewish communities have different histories, if you will, but shared experiences. We once were slaves, too. We've both experienced marginalization and trauma, and the same forces of white nationalism, the same forces of evil that came for those 9 worshipers in Charleston came for 11 worshipers in Pittsburgh. And so our communities have a long history. I mean, I'm proud of the fact that Ben Epstein, who was the head of ADL in 1963, stood on the stage of the Lincoln Memorial, and there were many, many Jewish people in the audience. And it is a privilege for me to be there tomorrow with the Rev, with Andrea, and with Martin III. Because, again, that alliance, that relationship between black and Jewish people continues. And so you will have Jewish people of all denominations. You'll have Jews of color all there tomorrow, continuing the pursuit of the dream.
Andrea, congratulations on putting this together. 60 years later, I'm reminded that it took less than a year after the March on Washington before the Civil Rights Act was signed into law by President Johnson. What are the challenges right now that you see 6 decades later? Yes, we've made so much progress in all that time, but what work still lays ahead in your view?
Well, we have seen progress, but we've also seen in recent years regression. We have seen the women's rights to choose being taken away. We've seen voting rights, the crowning achievement of the civil rights movement, actually being erased. We've seen attacks on history, where, you know, it's so interesting that in 1823, it was illegal to teach an enslaved person to read. And here we are in 2023, and it's almost illegal to teach about enslaved people. We've seen hate crimes on the rise. So in a very real sense, we've seen the triple evils that Martin Luther King Jr. talked about of racism and bigotry, violence. We've seen gun violence. Our children now are, you know, we're going back to school, and they're having tornado drills and fire drills, but also active shooter drills in this country. We've seen poverty on the rise. And so we're really at a point in time where, in a very real sense, oppression is being legislated. A lot of the attitudes and beliefs that I used to monitor and research when we worked on the Ku Klux Klan and neo-Nazi under Reverend C.T. Vivian, I'm actually seeing 25 years later a lot of these philosophies being codified and passed into laws all across our country.
You know, one of the things that is important is that when Dr. King and others marched 60 years ago, it was unity among those legacy organizations. It wouldn't have happened without the oldest civil rights organization thorough in the country, and that was the NAACP, led by Roy Wilkins at this time. And tomorrow, Derek Johnson, who leads it now, and the organization is even stronger, is part of the leadership and will be speaking and has helped to guide us. Derek, thank you for coming on with us for this call. Talk about the importance of dealing with not only a march tomorrow, which is a call to action like the march was 60 years ago, but the follow-up for legislation and real systemic change that you emphasize not only in all of our meetings, but even in casual phone conversations. You said substance without symbol, Rev, is not going to get us there.
You know, at the end of the day, elections have consequences. So as we gather tomorrow, we're going to leave that march recruiting over 300,000 volunteers in preparation for the 2024 elections. I am proud to watch the DA in Fulton County, Williams, and what she's doing. But she got in office as a result of the elections. We are all saddened with what we see with the former president, but he got in office because of the elections. So this march initiates for the NAACP, for NAN, and all of our partners, our march to the polls for November 2024. It is absolutely important that we do that. We've had over 1.2 million individuals who've had their student loans completely forgiven as a result of the 2020 elections. We've seen the Justice Department to go after individuals and bad actors across the country. That's a result of the 2020 election. And we must stand up tomorrow in solidarity to commemorate what took place 60 years ago, but as we prepare for the election in 2024.
Reverend Michael Steele here. I'm so locked in on this moment for a whole host of reasons. You and I have, as people know, been on the battlefields many a time, but we've always stood shoulder to shoulder when it comes to a moment like this, where, you know, as African-American men, we recognize the importance of why our voices in the context of the conversation is necessary. When you think about the action tomorrow, which is the march, and you think about, it was just referenced, the upcoming election, you have a lot of Americans who I still think don't get that connection. They've almost been disconnected from what happened on the Mall 60 years ago, because they actually, to be honest, we've sat back and allowed the disintegration of voting rights, the stripping away of health care rights for women, the prosecution of LGBTQ. And it's almost like, well, it's them, not me. How do you connect Americans, not just through the symbolism of the march tomorrow and the recollection of 60 years ago and recounting Dr. King's words, but actually make this real for the American people now, and understanding what, not just what you may lose, but what you've already lost, not in the last, over 60s, but in the last few years.
When you look at the fact and I tell people this every day, as does Jonathan, as does Andrea, as does Derek, that we are all outraged at losing affirmative action, losing women's right to vote, or everyone in our community that said there's nothing to vote for in 2016. You put those 3 conservative justices on the Supreme Court. You are the ones that decided that it was all right for Trump to become president if you didn't like that, when you went around with the myth that there was no difference between Hillary and Trump. Well, the difference was the Supreme Court. The difference was 200 federal judges. The difference was, as Derek just referenced, that Fani Willis became the DA and Alvin Bragg in New York. So at the same time that it is a process that is frustrating sometimes in that it's a step-by-step process, you cannot allow them to push backward because they take advantage of that. And what we've got to do at not only the march but in the follow-up is tell people we have got to keep our eye on the prize and our hand to the plow because they take advantages of going back. We don't agree on everything. There are tensions in some of the communities, but we need to understand that we have more in common working with Jonathan Greenblatt, working with UNIDOS together because they're after all of us. And the moment we get into internal squabbles rather than keep moving forward, they take advantage of our division.